How do you discuss a film that has impacted your life at multiple facets of your life? Different ages, different, points at which you're trying to figure out what you're doing and how your life is going. It can be measured sometimes by the films that you saw, whether these are horror movies or just traditional film. This movie is one of those films that has just impacted my life, and I have never forgotten it, even though I don't watch it all the time, and it has been sometimes decade in between my viewings of this film. Dark Water, directed by Hideo Nakata, is one of those films that has just stayed with me from the first time I watched it to now. And it has impacted me in different ways throughout the years on how I view it, and I get something new every time I watch it. This film originally came out in 2002, which subsequently was the same year as the American remake of The Ring. I just recently covered The Ring collection. I'll link a card up below. So if you're curious to see how this went, it does also include The Ring 2, which was also directed by Hideo Nakata. So definitely check that out, see if it's worth buying. But today we're going to be discussing Dark Water from Arrow. So I'm going to quickly show this off. We'll get into the video, the audio, the special features, and then we'll discuss the film a little bit. I did get the Arrow exclusive because I really liked the one sheet. I did opt to do the new artwork on the inside so I could get that because I do like both artwork, but that original artwork just is very haunting. It does come with a booklet. This is actually still in my player. I'm still diving into some of the special feature stuff. I just love this movie. I've watched it twice in the last couple days. I was actually gonna do this review a few days ago, and it just was one of those things that I just wanted to sit with the film again for a few days. I know that may sound weird. I'm just, doing a 4K review to see if you should buy this movie, but it is a film that just holds a special place in my heart. Now, that may not be for all of you. Some of you may be watching this and be like, I've watched that movie. It's not that big a deal, but for those that it has impacted, I highly recommend you pick up this movie. Before we get into all the technical aspects of the video and the audio and all that, I highly recommend you own this movie, whatever format you decide to pick this up. If you decide to get the old Blu-ray, this is a must-own for horror fans, Japanese horror fans. It's just a movie that I think belongs in your collection. While it may not hit the heights of the Halloweens, all of that, it's a very different type of movie. It's atmospheric, it's haunting, it's deeply depressing and saddening, and it just kind of leaves you with a weight that may take a few days to come off of. So let's get into this. This is a new 4K scan. It's presented with HDR and Dolby Vision. This looks so good. I know Arrow has been doing a fantastic job over the last couple years, and even the last year, I think they've been doing a banger of a job on their stuff when they've been bringing it to 4K. This is a movie that is shot on film. The grain here is all resolved, and it just looks so good. And when you're watching a movie that is so heavy with, story, the atmosphere and the look of the film and the sound of the film can enhance that in such a way, and that's what this film did. That's what this format can do in some of these movies. When you're presenting a film that is in a lower quality, it's not that it ruins the film, but presenting it in its best light sometimes can help enhance all of that, and that's what this film does. I'm going to overlay some screenshots so you can see the atmosphere from the rain. It is a dreary movie. It is constantly raining. It's got a green-brown tint to it. It is not a fun movie to necessarily look at in that aspect, and the weight of the movie is amplified by this new transfer. I think the HDR does a lot. I think the Dolby Vision is doing a lot here, and I think the movie just looks really good. It just looks like it should. It looks like you have a window into these people's lives, and you're kind of voyeuristically seeing this depression, this sadness, this horror, and this trauma through the eyes of an onlooker. And I think that is what sometimes can transport you into a film. I give this film a 5 out of 5. I think this movie looks perfect. Everything is resolved. There was nothing that I saw that was crazy out of left field. I've seen the Blu-ray. I own the Blu-ray. It does look better than that. The detail here is upticked a little bit. The HDR is much better. So on a visual front, if you love this movie, this is a no-brainer in kind of upgrading to the 4K format. I think it just does this film so much justice, and it looks so good. Now on the audio front, this is a lossless 5.1 DTS HD Japanese audio track with English subtitles. So know that if you haven't seen this movie, it is subtitled. It sounds good. This is a lossless audio track that I think sounds fantastic. This is not a very jump-heavy heavy movie. It's not that type of movie, even though he is known for that with The Ring and some of his later movies like Samara, which is not a great movie. But this movie just kind of wants you to watch and see its characters going through the tragedies of their lives. And it's about a woman who was recently divorced and is trying to take care of her child. She moves into a new apartment building, and basically the soul of a dead girl is there, and they're dealing with this and reeling with this against the real world, you know, reactions to her trying to hold down a job and take care of her kid and fending off her ex-husband. So there's a lot here. So on the audio front, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. I think it sounds fantastic, but it is obviously no new upgraded audio, so it is just the same audio we've gotten. So on the special features front, the ones that I highly recommend are Ghost, Rings, Water, an interview with director Hideo Nakata, Family Tears interview with author Koji Suzuki, who was also the author of The Ring. There's an original making of documentary, and there's some iCover footage with the actors across this film. So not a ton here, but I think they're very important in also kind of lifting the veil and conveying what they were trying to get across in this film. Let's talk about the film for a minute. As far as special features go, I'd probably give it a 3.5. Like, there's not a lot there, but what's there I think is substantive. So I think that you should enjoy what you get. But again, there's not like a whole host of them here. So, you know, 3.5 out of 5 is where I would leave that. Now, on the film's front, this is a perfect film for me. I think it's a 5 out of 5. There is some stuff that you may say, hey, I don't necessarily like this, or I don't necessarily like that. I've kind of met it at different points in my life, like I was saying in the beginning. When I first saw it in 2002, I was in high school. I saw it like in my mid-20s, and now I'm in my mid to late 30s, and I'm watching it again, and it just, I don't have children, so I don't have that aspect of like having a child and feeling that connection to it. So if you have a child, maybe it does hit a little bit different for you. But from a person who is just watching this and seeing despair that is caught on film, and it's so subdued in this film, that's what kind of hits you. That's what kind of lingers. So when the horror does happen, it is more impactful. There's not this constant like, look here, look there, look here, look there. There's none of that. It's not initially like something that is otherworldly or supernatural. It doesn't have that from the beginning. You don't know if the mom is crazy from all the stress from trying to provide for her child and, you know, the recent divorce and what she's fighting, because she does have breakdowns throughout this film. And so you kind of, as a viewer, are like, is this something supernatural? Is this her? She's relating to the loss of this missing girl with her own daughter. And there's just so many things that as you watch this can hit you different ways. I like the look of this film. It's very subdued, just very natural. It's not anything that's like crazy. The budget was probably super small on this. And I just think that it is a film that, though I've seen it many times, stays with you long after you watch it. So like I said, own this in any format possible. I would highly recommend, if you can, get the 4K. It's, you know, it's amazing. It's great. You should own it. That's pretty much all I've got. I'm going to link some videos for you at the end. As always, if you like what we do here, consider becoming part of the collective. If you really like what I do here, I do have a Patreon. Nothing fancy. It's $2 a month. It's just some extra videos that are not as edited as these. They don't take me a lot of time, and I just kind of give a little bit extra, whether I pick up something that's old or I just want to talk about something that I don't necessarily feel is YouTube worthy or whatever. I like to keep these very edited and streamlined and kind of as reviews, and sometimes on there I just kind of talk about stuff. So I am in the midst of building a podcast, so that will be coming shortly. I don't want to get too heavy on the details, but it is happening, and I'm gonna have maybe some guests on that, so look forward to that coming very soon. Anyway, maybe I'll talk about Dark Water in that context. But anyway, that's all I've got. Thanks for stopping by, and I will talk to you guys in my next 4K review.